Have I paid my taxes? I have. We announced it yesterday, but Slime quit his job at Beyond the Summit. He quit his job. Slime really likes working at home. I think he likes freedom. I think he's a guy who's really into like arts and self-expression and writing. And you know, you can't have a lot of time doing that if you have to produce events that are viewed by 50,000 people all the time. So he quit his job. He's now COO. That's not an official title. Officially, he has no title. Officially, he's just Slime Onder Gaming. He's been doing the taxes. He's my tax guy. So he paid my 2018 taxes, and we got an extension on our 2019 taxes, so everything's good. It's funny, when you file for an extension on your taxes, they ask you how much you think you'll spend or how much you think you'll owe. And so we filled it out. We're like, maybe 40K. And then the next page after that, they're like, all right, pay the 40K. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I thought this was an extension. You can either set up a payment plan or pay it immediately. So I was like, everybody relax. And the idea is that, you know, you should pay as much as you can. Everything you don't pay, you'll get a little fine on. You'll have to pay a little additional. So I was like, we'll just call it 10. We'll just call it 10. We'll give them 10 racks, and then they'll be good. We sent them 10 racks. Within 20 minutes, they're like, extension approved. The IRS saw the 10K. They're like, all right, we'll give him a couple months. He might be good for it. Yeah, they wanted 40K cash. I was like, chill, dude. I'm trying to buy a house. I have to pay out these tournaments. Did I actually not pay taxes? Yeah, I didn't pay my taxes in 2018. I didn't pay them. Look, backstory. You guys know the meme. You know that right now, if you go to google.com, no matter where you are, and you look up the phrase tax fugitive, I come up several times. And even Lamonk comes up. I'm sorry that I roped you into this. Hopefully you are all good with the letter of the law. This is true. We've known this. Tax fugitive. If you upvote this image, it will show up on Google Images for tax fugitive. Now, I've seen this a lot. I see this a lot, usually directed at like politicians, but I always thought it wasn't real. I always thought it never worked. If I look up tax fugitive and then I go to images, that's so bad. Why does that work? Why does that work? Where did this all begin? Why did we start with the meme? And the reality is most memes have an element of truth to them. They do. Sniper Get Down is not exactly off base. I don't have the clearest skin. I remember when I had about 100 viewers, 2018, and for my 2018 taxes, I was filling everything out. I was trying to do my taxes like a good human does. April 15th. I know the date. Everybody knows the date. But the problem is taxes become a lot harder when you have to pay money. Taxes for 90% of the population, maybe that's a wrong estimate, but most people are easy because you just put in your, what is it, W-9, W-2, one of those. You give them your W-2, they give you your W-9, something like that. You work at a job, the job automatically takes out money to give to the government, and then it's usually more than you owe because the government doesn't want to do work. So what they do is they're like, well, we don't want to have to get money from people. We'll have them give us more, and then we'll give it back, which is five-head, honestly. Kind of a five-head move from the government. It's a lot harder to get people to pay. It's a lot easier to refund people who've already paid. So you get your W-2s, you put it in, blah, 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 blah. Probably only have one job, maybe two. All right, put them both in. And then they're like, this is how much money you get back. And that's it. That's it. That's taxes for most people. Should take no more than maybe a day of work. Make a DiGiorno, do your taxes. And that's how it used to be for me ever since I got a job. I've been working since I was 16 years old. That's how I did them. All right, every year. Very easy. However, I started streaming on Twitch. And all of a sudden, things get a little weirder. Because I'm not an employee of Twitch. I'm a contractor. So I get a 1099-C. Which would be fine. But Twitch doesn't take out money and give it to the government. All they do is they give me all the money I've earned, and then they go to the IRS like the narcs they are, and they said, we gave him this much. We gave Ludwig 20K for like all of 2018. And I'm like, all right, fuck you guys. So now I have to confirm. I have to be like, yeah, they gave me the money. And then I have to pay them taxes on it. And although I did have a real job in 2018 for, you know, a good portion of the year, in fact, almost all the year, because I worked at Snapchat and I worked at the vape company, I didn't give them more than I owed them. So I owed them money. Not even that much, right? So I filled out my taxes. Slime printed it out because I still have the documents. My taxes were incredibly long. I think it was 40 pages because I was being such a write-off Andy. I was like, well, I went to this tournament and that kind of was important for the stream. We'll write it off. I did do a little review stream of Taco Bell, and I spent $120 there. Yeah, we'll write it off. So I wrote off a bunch of fucking shit for like not even that much money. I wrote off like 20 things that totaled like $1,600, which is, I mean, you should do that, right? You should do that. Like if you spend a lot of money on like a computer, right? Like let's say you make like $2,000 from Twitch, but you buy a computer that's $2,500. Your business is not profiting. If you don't make any profit, you don't have to pay taxes. That's how it works. Very cool. That's how Amazon does it. They spend so much in innovation that they don't have to pay taxes because they don't make profit. And now I'm oversimplifying and I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's the general idea. At the end of the day, I owed about $1,500. And this is April 2019, over a year ago. So I'm like getting ready to pay it. And then they ask for one number. To be able to file online e-file, you specifically need one number called your AGI. Your AGI. Remember that number, boys. It's very important. Your adjusted gross income, I think, which we know some of those words. Gross means ew, yucky. Income means money. Adjusted means changed. So it means like, oh shit, you made that much money? And then we change it a bit. I think that's how it works. I don't really know who's adjusting what. Who really knows? All right, this is some weird government conspiracy. But you need to know it to e-file. Kind of like proves that you're you. And although I did file my taxes in 2017, the number on the document I saved was just slightly different than the number the government had. Because after you file your taxes, what happens is the IRS checks it and they're like, okay, you're all good. Here's your money back. Or if you owe them, they're like, all right, thank you for the money. And then they're like, here, 1040. And all 1040 means is like, here, this means you did it. Certificate of having paid taxes. Here you go. And that has the number on it. That's the piece of paper you need so you can look at the number in e-file. Now me, I thought I was good about keeping papers. Ever since I started living alone, I was like, I know some papers are important. And so I went to my paper drawer, 2019. But I had moved a couple times and maybe I didn't keep as good of track as I thought. And it ended up being like 15 gas bills that all just had my gas billing account for Southern California gas. And nowhere did I have a 1040. And I was like, huh. So you can look it online. And I tried to look it online and the number I had there was wrong. So they declined it. They auto-declined it. And bear in mind, I waited to the last minute. So I did my taxes April 14th, like at midnight. And I submitted at like 12:30. I put in what I thought was my AGI. The next day, they're like, declined. And I'm like, whoa, it's now April 16th, 2019. My taxes were due yesterday, but they declined it, which means I hadn't paid my taxes yet. So I tried a couple more AGIs. I was like, okay, 151, 152. Turns out you need it to the cent. And I kept getting rejected. And I was like, this is weird. But thankfully, there's a way online where you can get your adjusted gross income. Very easy. All you have to do is put in some identifiers, name, last name, social security, yada, yada, address, and then you're good. So I put it all in. Not Ludwig. What? Website hits me back. It's like, no, this is not Ludwig. I was like, what do you mean? This is Ludwig. It's me, Ludwig. What do you do? It's Ludwig. Short. They're like, nope. Sorry, man. Not you. So I call and they're like, hey. And I'm like, hey, Jonathan IRS, can you help me get my AGI? And they're like, great. Use this website. And I'm like, oh, they can't find my identity. Click. And I'm like, huh. And now like a few weeks have passed. I know that if you're late on taxes, It's not the end of the world. It's not like missing a bomb defusal in Valorant. Nothing blows up. You are in trouble, but they're more disappointed, not upset. So they don't do anything immediately. But I know I owe more money. I know that because I Googled it, that you owe more money. So I'm like, how do I do this? So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to print it out. So I print out my taxes. I sign it. And then you have to mail a check with your taxes. But I don't have any checks. So I order some checks. They come in a few weeks later. But then I don't know if I'm supposed to put extra money. And while this is all happening, it's now like 3 months, 4 months after I was supposed to pay because, time got behind me. And all of a sudden, I'm moving. So I moved to a new house. I get to the new house. Everything's peaky, cheeky, wonderful, ready to pay. Can't find my checks anymore. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like 5 months have passed. I don't have my checks. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I only owed them like $1,500. They'll be fine. You know what I mean? I feel like the IRS has some bigger fish to fry. They'll come for me. That's their thing. They always come for you. They came for my mom for $1.50 8 years after she paid the taxes that they were claiming that she was short on. They waited 8 years to be like, yo, we need this. So I was like, I probably got a few. So I just didn't do anything. And then I told Stream about it. And then Stream thought it was kind of funny. And I had a couple hundred viewers. And I'm like, well, if I pay them, then I run out of memes, I was getting a lot of mileage off short jokes. I was like, short jokes are going to die soon. I need something else. Sniper Get Down hurts my feelings too much. What if I just don't pay so I can farm more content? But then a problem became quite apparent. I started making some money. The YouTube blew up. I became like a 1K Andy. I was like, oh, cool, 1K Andy. And then a 2K Andy. I was like, oh, cool, 2K Andy. And then a 5K Andy. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I started Googling tax fugitive, and all of you guys made it go literally to the front page of Google. And I was like, uh-oh. All of a sudden, my measly $1,500 became a lot more problematic. I was like, they're going to audit my dumb ass. Me writing off the goddamn Chick-fil-A at the Smash tournament might get my ass in jail. I'm like, okay, cool, chill. We'll just be A1 with our taxes this year. 2020's my year. I'm doing everything by the book. I make a company. I'm working with H-Rock and Stance to find some cool accountant. And then they extend the tax date. So I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. I don't owe it till July 15th. Are you out of your mind? So then I ignore it for 3 months. And all of a sudden it's July. And I haven't done my taxes. And I'm emailing the accountant who they found. And then I email them, and then they don't email me for 3 days, and then I don't check my email for 3 days, and then I email them back. And we did that for like 2 weeks, and then it's 3 days before taxes are due. And Slime's like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving my job and working for you. And he sends me this whole PowerPoint. This is true, by the way. Slime makes this whole PowerPoint about how he wants to become my assistant. And I had never really considered it because I think it's kind of weird to do with your friend. I think my friendship's really valuable. I don't want to put it in jeopardy. But he seemed really passionate about it. And so I was like, yeah, run it. And so 2 days, basically yesterday, 2 days before taxes are due, because taxes are due tomorrow, yesterday, I'm like, Slime. So here's the sitch. And so Slime quits his job at BTS, assumes that he's going to be able to work at home, play Valorant, work like 20 hours a week, just do some medial shit that I need. Has to do like 2 years of taxes that are very convoluted for some literal man-child with way too much money in his wallet for no reason. He's doing like all my taxes for 2018. He's got to print it. He's got to go to the post office. He's got to mail it out, extend this year's, figure out this year's so I can buy a house. Because apparently, I didn't know this. You need to have your taxes done to buy a house. That's weird, champ. I thought you could just buy a house like you could buy anything on Amazon. Apparently, people need to lend you money. They're called lenders and they lend you money. Why are they called that? I guess it makes a little bit of sense, but why can't you just use my money? Maybe I don't have enough, but I'll homie it. I'm good for it. Trust me. I'm good for it. You know I'm good for it. Anyway, we're just getting ahead of the ball. We're just getting to a good point. 2018, success. Now we have to wait for them to get it, all right? Because it's going to be a slow process again. We have to mail it to them. They have to look at it, receive it, accept it, send me a 1040. Then I have to get the AGI so I can file this year. So we're a little bit late this year, but we're legally late this time. Last time I was late and I didn't tell the IRS. This time I told them, yo, baby, sorry, can't watch a movie. I'm playing Valorant type situation rather than just booting into a game, having your girl walk upstairs and get people angry. Not speaking from experience. This is just a story. And all's good in the hood now, baby. All's good. Taxes sealed, signed, delivered. Slime Onder truly showing his value in the first 48 hours of employment, 24 hours. I'm the worst to work with too. I'm like in a game of Valorant. He like walks in, he's trying to talk to me, but I'm playing Valorant. And he's like, can you please come to my room after? And then I'll like boot up a second game. He'll come in again. He's like, please. And then I'll walk into his room and then he'll be like telling me something. And I'd be like, okay, so we got to talk about this. And then I made like a car noise and I pretended to run out, Naruto run. So I was like, which I thought was funny, but he did not laugh as hard. And then Eamon was at the door while Slime was explaining to me how we have to separate our business costs so we can write them off easier at the end of the year. And I'm like listening. And then I look over to Eamon. I do one of these. I'm like, very funny. But probably a little frustrating for him. And since we don't have a company card, I made him buy me Starbucks today. And then I couldn't find my wallet, so he... I'm a bad boss, I'll be honest. But hey, I'll get better. Anyway, that's the story of my tax situation and how I became the front page of Tax Fugitive on Google Images. So, real quick, before we wrap this all up, maybe we take my name off of this? Huh? What about that? What if we don't have my face on here? Because they can still audit me, and I'm just saying, I'm trying to write off a lot of things, and when they look and they say you're writing off $200 worth of Pop-Tarts, I don't want to have to explain it, all right? I just want to go under the radar. Please, I don't want to get audited. Please, use anyone else. Use anybody else. Put XQC on there. He's so wacky. You know, goofy. Put, you know, what about good old Miz? Mizzy Wizzy, right? Put Miz. What about Big A? You're going to keep? Okay. All right. Well, whatever.